Okay, so you're at day 5 in the Marvel versus Star Wars is done by IGN. And this fight sounds really interesting until you should really break it down. And that's Magneto versus Darth Vader. Now, Darth Vader is essentially the number 2 ruler of a galactic empire that spans the majority of the galaxy, and he rules it entirely by fear. If you're an enemy, you fear him. If you work with him, you also fear him. And then Magneto, at best, has been able to run a continent, as well as a giant floating satellite. And Magneto does more of a rule through fear against his opposition. If you work with him and you're on his side, there's at least a level of compassion, unless you're trying to stop it. So as always, we're going to go through the 9 criteria here. As you can kind of guess, Magneto being the master of magnetism and Vader being more machine than man, this isn't going to be probably the most even of fights. I mean, if you have the ability to essentially control things that are metal, and the picture they had depicted the fight on the Death Star. So if they're fighting on the Death Star, it's surrounded in metal with a guy who is comprised of metal. Knowing that he would do this to force choke, could you still force choke if someone's going, you're robotic, yeah? I'm not going to let you squeeze your hand, huh? Can you still force choke without doing the hand motion? What they showed is they showed Magneto being force choked. So let's go through this. As always, there's the 9 criteria. So you have intelligence. When it comes to combat intelligence, Vader is very much where the rebels at? Here. Okay, you on like a small tactical group? No, we're gonna do just a massive attack. Okay. But Magneto's more of a, okay, they're here, yeah? Can we fight them one-on-one? No. Okay, small guerrilla style tactics. Split them up, crush them individually, as opposed to Magneto is a little bit more fine-tuned attacking, where Vader's a sledgehammer. If these two were to actually have a battle where it were to be, Magneto trying to fight his way on like Hoth to take on Vader, different sort of scenario. You have much larger constructs, but Magneto, up to this point in time, in comics, is so ridiculously powerful. He controls like the magnetic force field around black holes. So I'm pretty sure like an ATST or an AT-AT, he can probably go, oh, it's a large piece of metal. Crunch, or, oh, large piece of metal. And turn around and shoot. Okay? I've killed the oncoming forces, and crunch, and throw into space. Or, and crunch. Into a really cool looking armchair. So you have more of a guerrilla style tactics, where there's a much better idea of social order, social justice. So ironically, you're looking at a much wider array of overall intelligence, as well as a decent amount of guile, and knowing how to really, plan out a strategy, versus, I'm Vader. I'm one of the most powerful forces in the universe. You're going to have an automatic amount of fear when you come against me. But when you go back, and back, Magneto does have essentially like a PhD level education, as well as a very good knowledge of socioeconomics, politics, philosophy, versus a guy who essentially started as a slave, so he's got a decent technical background, and then he kind of became a Jedi, where he just kind of fought the whole time, and now he's kind of a lackey to someone who controls the political system. He kind of just more does what he's told. So I have to get the intelligence edge to Magneto. Fighting ability. I'll give it to Vader. Strength. I might give strength to Vader, since he is, of course, mechanical in nature. They should have given him some form of, enhanced strength in some form or fashion. Speed. I'm gonna have to give speed over to Magneto. Because again, Vader's primarily metal. And we've never seen him, have a really, really fast amount of speed as opposed to a guy who is in pretty decent physical conditioning. Overall invulnerability. Now, Magneto can do force fields. Could a force field help against, let's say, like a lightsaber throw? But he's also still human. So you have force fields versus robot. I think I'll give it to Magneto because of the ability to craft a pretty ingenious force field. Durability. You have human level durability versus someone where he can probably take a decent amount of beating and then has to go to a repair shop. And I'm pretty sure what they have on Death Star is probably more advanced when it comes to healing robots than people. So I'll give the durability edge more than likely to Darth Vader. I also picture Vader really getting, sort of tired in the fight. So now we're on energy projection. Magneto just can do so many more things. Not to take away from Vader. Vader has some fantastic force abilities. But given the scenario where they're at, they're in the Death Star. Okay, if Vader tries to, force throw anything, it's made out of metal. Magneto's going to be like, when I was 5 I was doing this, and start chucking everything back at him. Not to mention the fact he's probably going to go, huh, nice lightsaber. Off. What? Off. Off. What the? Are you? I think your helmet's metal. Crunch. Wait a minute. Your lungs are metal. Stop. And done. So energy, have to give it to Magneto. Versatility. Again, if you've ever read through what Magneto can actually do with his abilities, beyond like the EM pulse wave, so I'm pretty sure Magneto will probably go fly to the Death Star. Huh? It's a pretty big ship. Huh. What was that? Sir, someone's throwing TIE fighters at the Death Star. Alright, getting close. Wonder if I can EM pulse some of this. Sir, what's wrong? Someone's been EM pulsing some of our area. Get inside. Huh. EM pulse. Leave me in the forest moon of Endor. We gotta get inside that building. What are you doing? It's metal, right? Yeah. You just... Yeah. Oh, we're going for that? Yeah? Well, that's kind of big. What about the forest base? It's made of metal? Yeah. Doors open. So anything made of metal, which there's a lot of in a galaxy far, far away, and the force fields and the flight and everything else, Magneto has got a ridiculous amount of abilities to stop human blood because there's iron in it. That's impressive. Vader, take nothing away from him. He's got great abilities, but he's taken on somebody who is the master of magnetism. So out of the X Factor. Vader's made of metal, he's a cyborg. Taking on the master of magnetism. A lightsaber is made out of metal. Their battleground, the Death Star, is made out of metal. You've given him almost every single possible thing you can think of to put us in Magneto's favor. If Vader were to kick out a force choke, it's going to come down to, okay, can Magneto get enough wherewithal to throw anything at Vader or realize, oh, Vader's metal? Either trip him, make him lose his concentration, or even take control of his own lightsaber and gut him with it. I mean, there's Magneto has such a huge advantage, primarily because he controls the exact thing that comprises the vast majority of Darth Vader. So if Magneto faces Vader in the Death Star, it's Magneto. Magneto takes us like 6-3. He's going to have a pretty easy time defeating him. You might even make it to him. To be like, oh wow, these halls are made out of metal. Stop him. Your guns are made out of metal. Uh-huh. Explode, explode, explode. Actually, let's be honest, the stormtroopers, they probably couldn't hit him anyways. So if Vader were to take on, Magneto, Magneto's got him. Now, Magneto versus the Emperor, whole different story.